At MetLife Stadium, the stage is set for a classic AFC East showdown between the New York Jets and the Buffalo Bills. And while the Bills come in as the favorites, these divisional battles at MetLife always seem to deliver the unexpected. Fans of both sides know the history well, games filled with wild swings, surprise heroes, and momentum shifts that defy logic. Just a year ago, the Jets stunned Buffalo on the very same turf with a punt return in overtime, and that memory still lingers as a reminder that in this rivalry, no script is guaranteed. This matchup has an intriguing new layer with the Jets, turning the page into a fresh era. Justin Fields has taken over as quarterback, and in his debut against the Steelers, he showed flashes of the explosiveness that made him one of the most dynamic college players of his generation. The Jets' offense surprised a lot of people by scoring over 30 points, and the unit looked sharper than many anticipated, especially given the concerns about the offensive line heading into the season. Against a strong Pittsburgh front, that line not only held up but dominated stretches of the game, opening lanes for Breece Hall and giving Fields enough time to operate. That performance has shifted expectations for what this Jets attack can be. Buffalo, on the other hand, enters Week 2 riding high after one of the wildest wins of the young season. Their comeback against Baltimore was more than just a victory. It was a statement that this team still has the resilience and firepower to climb out of holes against elite opponents. Josh Allen put on a show late in that game, reminding everyone why he is among the league's most dangerous quarterbacks. But the Bills' defense left the field with plenty of questions after surrendering over 400 yards and struggling badly against the Ravens' ground game. Baltimore gashed them for chunk plays on the ground, repeatedly ripping off runs of over 15 yards and averaging more than 8 yards per carry. That vulnerability is a storyline to watch, especially with the Jets showing a clear commitment to running the ball and utilizing Fields' mobility. When you look at the Bills' defense structurally, it has been designed for speed and athleticism. They lean on quicker linemen and versatile linebackers rather than downhill thumpers. That works well against spread offenses that want to air it out, but when faced with a physical ground attack and a dual-threat quarterback, those lighter defenders can get exposed. Baltimore exploited that flaw, and now the Jets have every reason to test it again. Fields brings the threat of keeping the ball on zone reads. Hall looked decisive and explosive, and the offensive line proved it could move bodies against a stout front. Buffalo's challenge is clear. Either show you can handle that style or risk being put on the back foot early. For the Jets, the story in Week 1 was not just Fields. Breece Hall looked like his old self, hitting holes with decisiveness and running with the burst that once had him on track for Rookie of the Year before his injury. He admitted over the summer that his 2024 campaign was disappointing and that he needed to prove he deserves a long-term deal. Against Pittsburgh, he looked motivated and focused, a running back determined to remind everyone of his ceiling. With Garrett Wilson as the primary weapon in the passing game, Hall becoming a legitimate number 2 option on offense completely changes what the Jets can do. Add in the improved blocking up front, especially from rookies like Armin Mambu, who managed to shut down TJ. What with help, but without surrendering a single pressure, and suddenly this unit has an identity built on toughness in the trenches. Of course, this game is not just about what the Jets can do. Buffalo remains one of the conference's most dangerous teams because Josh Allen is capable of lifting everyone around him. The Bills may not have a true number 1 wide receiver anymore, but their depth at the position creates problems for defenses. Allen spreads the ball around, keeps everyone involved, and forces opponents to cover all areas of the field. That becomes even more critical when you consider the Jets' secondary. Sauce Gardner is among the league's elite corners, but teams know better than to test him too often. That means Brandon Stevens, the corner opposite Gardner, will be targeted relentlessly. Pittsburgh went after him in Week 1 with success, and you can bet Allen will do the same, challenging Stevens to prove he belongs in that role. The other major storyline for the Jets' defense is Quinnen Williams. Under the new scheme, he is being used differently, lined up more consistently in positions designed to get him one-on-one matchups rather than being double-teamed every snap. Against Buffalo, he needs to wreck plays, collapsing the pocket from the inside and disrupting Allen's rhythm. If the Jets are to pull off the upset, Williams has to be one of the most dominant players on the field, forcing Buffalo's offensive line to scramble and creating opportunities for the rest of the front to get pressure. Another area of focus will be how the Jets handle their defensive line rotations. Against Pittsburgh, they were caught more than once with too many backups on the field, and savvy quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers took advantage. Allen will do the same if given the chance. This is not a roster with endless depth up front anymore, so staggering the stars' rest periods is crucial. Having Williams, Jermaine Johnson, and Will McDonald off the field at the same time would be an invitation for Buffalo to attack, and the Bills will be watching for that. All of these factors add up to a fascinating chess match. Buffalo wants to set the tempo, throw the ball, and force the Jets into a pass-heavy game where Fields must win with his arm. The Jets want the exact opposite, slowing things down, pounding the ball, and using Fields' legs to control the pace. That clash of philosophies will likely decide the game. If the Jets can replicate their offensive line performance from Week 1 and Hall continues to run with confidence, they can keep Allen on the sideline and shorten the contest. If the Bills jump out early and force Fields into obvious passing situations, it could be a long afternoon for New York. What makes this even more compelling is the uncertainty around Fields. He has had great games before, but his career has been marked by inconsistency. The question is whether he can stack strong performances week after week. Against Buffalo, that challenge becomes steeper because the Bills will almost certainly load up the box, daring him to beat them with his arm. If he answers that call, the Jets suddenly become a much more dangerous team than many anticipated heading into the season. If he struggles, it will reinforce the doubts that have followed him since his Chicago days. This rivalry always carries extra emotion, and with both teams looking to make a statement early in the season, the atmosphere at MetLife should be electric. Bills fans are expecting another push toward the top of the conference, while Jets fans are desperate to believe that a new era has finally arrived. Strange things happen when these two collide in New Jersey, and with the storylines swirling around both teams, it feels like another unpredictable afternoon is on the horizon. The second layer of this game goes beyond the obvious matchups and into the finer details that can tip the balance. For Buffalo, it is about proving that their defense can rebound after being pushed around in the trenches. The Ravens exposed linebackers who were slow to read their keys, safeties who took poor angles, and a unit that seemed unprepared for the physicality of a power run game. Against the Jets, the names change, but the challenge remains. Breece Hall is not just a speed back. He can run through arm tackles if defenders hesitate, and Justin Fields adds the extra burden of a quarterback who can keep the ball and punish an over-aggressive edge defender. If the Bills' second level does not clean up its discipline, New York has the tools to turn this into another grinded-out contest where Buffalo feels like it is chasing. But Buffalo also knows how to adjust. They showed against Baltimore a willingness to play more base defense, something that has rarely been part of their identity in the past. Instead of light boxes, they went heavier, bringing 3 linebackers on the field more often than usual and trying to close gaps inside. It did not solve everything, but it showed a recognition that the same old approach would not be enough. Against New York, the question becomes whether they double down on that adjustment or go back to their comfort zone. If they crowd the line of scrimmage and dare Fields to throw, they may force him into mistakes. If they play lighter, they risk being bulldozed by a Jets team determined to prove it can control games with its ground attack. On the other side, the Jets' defense faces its own challenges. While Sauce Gardner erases one half of the field, the coverage breakdowns on the opposite side against Pittsburgh were glaring. It was not just Stevens being beaten. There were moments where communication seemed to falter, where players looked unsure of their assignments. Against Aaron Rodgers, that confusion was punished instantly. Josh Allen thrives in chaos. He does not just find the open receiver when a defender busts coverage. He also creates plays out of nothing when the structure of the defense holds. That is why the Jets cannot afford mental lapses. Even if Allen is pressured, even if the coverage is solid, he can still improvise. Giving him free plays by miscommunicating in the secondary would be fatal. The Jets coaching staff may need to consider simplifying some of their defensive looks. Try to disguise blitzes and roll coverages is fine against average quarterbacks, but can backfire against veterans who recognize it immediately. Michael Carter, who was asked to bluff blitzes and then drop into coverage against Pittsburgh, looked hesitant at times and paid for it. Simplifying the scheme might take away some of the disguise, but could allow players to execute with more confidence. Against a quarterback who punishes hesitation, sometimes clarity is more important than trickery. And then there's the rotation on the defensive line, an area where the Jets cannot afford sloppy management. The Steelers caught them twice with too many backups on the field, and Rodgers capitalized on both occasions. Allen will do the same, maybe even faster. He loves to operate in no huddle, and if he sees Williams and Johnson on the sideline together, he will not hesitate to push the tempo and attack the weaker group. For New York, that means careful staggering of rest periods, making sure one or two impact linemen are always present to prevent Buffalo from finding a soft spot. For Buffalo, the formula is clear. Score early, throw often, and attack the weak points of the Jets secondary. For New York, the recipe is just as simple. Run the ball, shorten the game, and rely on their stars in the trenches to create havoc. Somewhere in between lies the balance that will decide whether the Bills assert their dominance or whether the Jets announce themselves as a team to take seriously in this new era. Before we dive back in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest Buffalo Bills updates straight to your screen. And hey, don't hold back. Let us know your thoughts on today's news down in the comments. The NFL rumor mill is buzzing, and this time it's all about the Buffalo Bills. Sources close to the team are hinting at what could be the blockbuster move the franchise has been craving for months: the arrival of Micah Parsons. While the organization has remained tight-lipped, insiders suggest that the linebacker, known for his ferocious presence on the field and uncanny ability to read offenses, may finally be donning the Bills' blue and red this season. Fans have been waiting for a spark, someone to ignite the defense and provide that missing edge against the league's elite quarterbacks. Parsons, with his reputation as a game-changer and relentless tackler, fits the profile perfectly. Rumors suggest that team executives were working behind the scenes for weeks, negotiating a deal that could see Parsons become the cornerstone of the Bills' defensive strategy. While no official announcement has been made, whispers from locker room insiders indicate that the team's players are already buzzing with excitement about the potential addition. The timing couldn't be better. With the season approaching, the Bills are reportedly looking to solidify their roster and send a message to their divisional rivals. Imagine the headlines: Parsons flying off the edge, sacking quarterbacks, and shifting the momentum of critical games. It's the kind of defensive boost that can turn a playoff hopeful into a serious Super Bowl contender. Analysts are already speculating about how his presence could impact the team's schemes, particularly in high-stakes matchups against teams like the Chiefs and Patriots. Of course, skepticism remains. Rumors in the NFL are notoriously unreliable, and fans have been disappointed before by talks that never materialized. But if the chatter surrounding Micah Parsons is accurate, the Bills may have finally found the reinforcement they've been desperately seeking. Social media is already lighting up with fans sharing their excitement, debating how Parsons will fit into the defensive lineup, and dreaming of a championship run that seems a little more plausible with him on board. Whether this turns out to be an official signing or just another tantalizing rumor, one thing is clear: Buffalo is on everyone's radar, and Micah Parsons might just be the player to elevate the team to the next level. For now, the city waits with bated breath, the rumor mill spinning, in the hope that the defense of their dreams is finally within reach. Could Parsons be the missing piece? Only time will tell, but the buzz alone is enough to send waves through the NFL community. That's a wrap for now. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay on top of all things Buffalo Bills, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what you think in the comments. See you in the next update.